Yo, Xingqiu here, and today I want to talk about the 4 stars that you might be sleeping on. I am aware that there are 4 stars that do massive main DPS damage like Razor and Ningguang, but we're not going to include those 2 characters in this list because main DPS characters are easily replaceable. The next time you pull a 5 star like Hu Tao or Ayaka or Ganyu, you're going to get rid of your Ningguang and Razor just like that. Yeah, sure, of course, I am a firm believer of build any character you like, but if you are tight on resources or tight on time, I don't really suggest you start building random 4-star characters and instead focus on these characters that I will list, which are Diona, Bennett, Xiangling, Fischl, Beidou, Xingqiu, and Sucrose. Now we're gonna go over every single one of those, but again, you can build any 4-star character you like. This is coming from the guy who triple crowned Amber. Alright, do what you want with your crowns, but if you want to increase the power level of your account and you want to prioritize the more important 4-star characters, and these are my recommendations. First recommendation is Diona. Diona is hands down the best 4-star shielder in the game. The cooldown is super low. Anytime you need the shield, you're gonna get a shield. Then, if that's not enough, you also get healing with her burst. And if you have a cryo main DPS, Diona is gonna give lots of cryo particles. So Diona is the #1 best 4-star character for survivability. If you have a Diona in your team and you're still dying, you're doing something wrong. Next one is Bennett. Bennett just gives everything that you need. He heals you for so much and also gives you an attack buff, a massive attack buff. I remember in the early days of Genshin Impact, nobody liked Bennett, nobody used Bennett, and they thought he was a budget Diluc, but it was very far from the truth. Now you see every team, almost every single team has a Bennett. I can't even think of a team that would not benefit from a Bennett. I guess maybe a Hu Tao main DPS because you don't want to heal up Hu Tao too much. Another 4-star that you might be sleeping on, if you have this character in your inventory and you haven't built her yet, you are just missing out on massive big PP damage. All right, and not only massive pyro damage but constant pyro application. Amazing character. If you can maximize her pyro nado with elemental reactions, boy, you are gonna rip everything to shreds. Xiangling, one of the best sub DPS if you are needing more damage, and especially if you use a hydro main DPS or cryo main DPS for that juicy elemental reactions. Next one is Fischl. Dude, Fischl has been a staple sub DPS of the game since the first day of launch of the game. You just need to press E and then get out. You don't even need your burst, you don't even need energy. And she will provide massive electro damage on field. The only downside to Fischl is that she is mostly a single target damage. So Oz is gonna shoot at a single enemy and you're gonna deal damage most of the time against a single enemy. However, it is still good damage and consistent electro application. Now in tandem with that is Beidou. Beidou is also, I believe, one of the best sub DPS characters in the game. A lot of people sleep on her and think it's all about her counter, which I admit the counter is sick. However, her burst actually deals massive damage, even more than Fischl if against a group of enemies. If you have 2 or more enemies, Beidou is going to deal more damage. But against a single enemy, like a boss, Fischl will do more damage. And the next character that is another 4-star sub DPS that deals massive damage is Xingqiu. Now I keep saying massive damage, but the key important aspect that I forgot to say in the earlier characters is they're not just dealing massive damage, they're also incredibly flexible. They are dealing consistent damage even though they are not on the field, and that's the difference between them and characters who are just purely main DPS like Razor, is because when they are off the field, they're doing consistent high damage while your main DPS is also doing high damage, and that's what makes them very valuable in multiple team comps and makes them stand the test of time. Even 2 years into the game, we still see teams using these characters because they're so good, so flexible, dealing high damage. So Xingqiu will deal constant hydro application and high damage with his burst. His burst also deals a lot of damage, and his skill also deals a lot of damage. I don't think a lot of people know, but his E skill, it deals a ton of damage. So you slap this baby on with a pyro main DPS, and boy, you're gonna see big numbers flying on the screen. And finally, another 4-star that you might be sleeping on is Sucrose. So Sucrose is the best 4-star animal character. Forget about Sayu, alright? Sucrose gives so much elemental mastery for teams that rely on elemental mastery and elemental reactions. And she also gives good CC. Of course, not as good as Venti, but still amazing. Still will save your ass because of how much CC it provides. And the AoE is huge. So if you're running a team comp that needs elemental reactions, you're gonna need Sucrose in there to boost their damage. Also, your main DPS, if your main DPS is dealing any sort of elemental damage, is say a pyro main DPS, you can reduce the enemy's elemental resistance using a 4-piece viridescent that I've never set. Apply a swirl to the enemy with a pyro and then reduce their resistance to pyro. And actually, you can make Sucrose main DPS. Just pair her with the other 4-stars that I mentioned in this video, and you have yourself an avatar main DPS Sucrose. Alright, so for honorable mentions, I would say Kaya and Rosaria, because we already have Diona on the list. If you need some cryo application, do have Diona. However, if you don't need Diona's shields and healing, and you just need more damage out of your cryo application, Kaya or Rosaria would be your best bet. I would say Rosaria is better because she gives crit rate to your team. The only downside is that compared with Kaya, Kaya's burst follows him around. So if you're using a melee character and you need cryo application, Kaya will give you much more reliability because his burst follows you wherever you go. Rosaria's burst, it stays on the field. The AoE is not that big, and if the fight moves in another place, then you basically have a burst that doesn't do anything. But yeah, I do prefer Rosaria more because, you know, waifu, so hot. I mean, look at this guy. And then look at her. Who would you choose? Those are the 4-star characters that I believe if you put your resources into will progress the strength of your account much further than if you have invested those resources in other 4-star characters. Remember, you can level up and build whatever character you like. This is just a suggestion for those who are really tight on resources and really looking to make the most out of them. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you in our Discord, that discord.gg/xfam. I'll see you around.
Everybody stand back! This is long overdue. Go, Ferret Buddy!
The explosion range is so short. I hate that. I wish they made Baron Bunny explosion. 57k! Let's go!